So welcome back to another episode of Palm Harbor Local. Today we are sitting down with Michelle Manzini with Fusion Cabinets. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Yeah, so I'm excited to kind of dive into this. I think you're the first, maybe the first general contractor cabinet specialist that we've had on the podcast. So
Oh,
this
good.
should be fun.
This is my favorite subject, talking about fusion cabinets.
There you go, right? So let's start there and
Okay.
talk about Fusion Cabinets and like what you guys do, what you kind of specialize in.
Um, well, we do kitchen remodels as our focus, but we
Okay.
do whole home renovations. We don't do additions or anything like that. And we do work with other builders because cabinetry is our focus. We specialize in American-made cabinets, which I feel really strongly about that, and semi-custom. And some people don't understand when you say semi-custom that you can also get custom paint, any Sherwin-Williams paint color, which is really
Mm,
cool for a lot of people. Um, and then you can make modifications and things. I'm not a huge fan of the lower end RTA, which is ready to assemble cabinets. Because as a designer, it's kind of frustrating that there's not a lot of SKUs and you can't customize it. And I feel there's like a big difference between a cabinet that has a 2-year warranty versus a lifetime warranty.
So ready to assemble, is that like you go to
Flat
Home
pack,
Depot?
stock,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay,
those
okay,
kind.
okay.
And they're like everywhere.
Yeah,
And there's a certain market for that,
sure.
but I've been doing this long enough to know that, they say they're all wood, but it's just not the same. It's not the same quality hardware. They don't hold up.
Yeah,
And then unfortunately, you have issues down the line when they don't hold up because now your
yeah.
countertops are in and your backsplash is in. And that's a really common mistake people make is they spend a lot of money on appliances, but they don't invest in the cabinets.
Mm,
And that can be a tricky issue later. So usually when they're talking budget, I'll always ask them how long you're planning on being in the home. Because
mm,
you're going to be there forever, you want to invest a little more because there's a lot of wear and tear on the cabinets that I
mhm,
don't think people really think about because the marketing is so good for that other market.
for sure.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, they know how to say, "Oh, no, it's just as good. It's all wood. It's great." But yeah, it's going to start chipping and
Yep.
cracking and warping and the hinges aren't going to hold up as well and things like that. So we try to avoid that. We're more mid to high end custom. We try to focus on Euro style cabinets, which is not face frame. It's a frameless cabinet, which means the strength is in the back of the cabinet, not in the front. And
Mm,
then you have no gaps between the doors. So if you're doing contemporary, that's definitely your go to what you
yeah,
want to do.
okay.
But it's also just, they say you can get up to 30% more space.
Oh,
So
wow.
if you have a smaller kitchen, that's a
That
huge
that adds
impact.
up, right?
Yeah, because all those gaps, they take up a lot of room, and then your drawer
Yeah,
boxes are smaller.
okay.
So it makes a big difference. And once you show people that, they're like, "Well, why would you do anything else?" I'm
Right.
like, "Exactly. That's why we focus on
Yeah,
that."
that's
So,
cool.
yeah, I've been doing this a long time. I started Fusion Cabinets, 26 the business 26 years ago, and I've had Fusion Cabinets for 11 years now.
Okay. So let's go back to the beginning and like how did you get into this business and like why did you get into it back then?
Well, I was actually in real estate in my 20s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I went back and forth between here and New York, but I don't like the cold.
Okay.
So I ended up back here.
And so you did residential sales?
I did residential sales in Florida, and then when I went to New York, I did commercial.
Oh, wow,
And I just kept
interesting.
going and going back and forth. I was in my 20s, I was
Yeah.
single,
Okay.
and I get tired of the cold up in New York.
Okay.
And then I come down here and I'd be like, it's beautiful, but I'm kind of bored. I want to go back and get all the good food and culture and all that. And I just kept going back and forth.
Yeah.
So I ended up coming back and I was going through a divorce and I had a baby, an infant. And I didn't think I could do real estate with the hours, like nights and weekends. I thought it would be harder for daycare.
Mhm.
So I actually answered an ad in the newspaper, which is no one does that anymore.
Yeah. What's the newspaper?
I know, what's a newspaper, right? That's so sad. I'm totally dating myself. But it said sales and construction, women excel. So I went, and it turned out to be the Closet Factory, which is a very popular closet organization company.
Yeah.
And I discovered that I could draw to scale like freakishly fast. That was my gift. Like everyone has a gift. That's my like one gift. I can
Yeah.
really draw to scale quickly, and I just loved it. And it really propelled me from being a broke single mom to, buying my first house on the day of my divorce, which was
Wow.
pretty awesome accomplishment.
Yeah.
I had the little swing set in the backyard and everything. And I was like, oh, I've made it,
Yeah.
And then you kind of just naturally progressed to kitchens and baths and remodeling, and I love the good transformation, and when I was in real estate, every time I would walk into a house, I would be, like, scanning it immediately, like, "Oh, I gotta take that down, and I would move that there," and I
Mm,
kinda couldn't turn that off, the
yeah,
visual in my head,
yeah, yeah,
so it was just meant to be, I love this business.
yeah. So you started out in closets
Mhm.
and, like, designing closets and putting
Yep.
in cabinets and that sort of stuff.
Ladies love
Yeah,
closets,
yeah,
and let me tell you, if you're gonna sell a house, you should have a custom closet
right.
because ladies go crazy for closets.
Yeah,
Do you know what the average woman has for shoes? Guess
no.
how many?
Um, Average
Just the
woman,
average.
yeah, I'm gonna say, like, 40?
50. You're
50.
close. Yep.
It's
Isn't that funny?
crazy. The average is 50
And the
shoes.
guys is only 12.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
And I love telling the husbands that when you're there, because he's like, "She's got so many shoes. She's gotta get rid of shoes." I'm like, "Time out, dude. Don't say that."
Yeah.
Never tell a woman she has to get rid of her
Yeah,
shoes.
yeah, right. Yeah, so many different outfits, all that kinda
Yeah.
stuff. Um, so what was it like and you did the closet remodels and or redesigns and stuff, that was in Florida?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So everything from there was in Florida?
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool. What was that like? Like,
It was great.
starting out in that business?
It
Yeah,
was fun.
yeah.
It was fun. I was,
And did you do it here in, like, Pinellas County in this
yep,
area? Okay,
all over Pinellas, Tampa Bay, actually.
okay.
I worked with a lot of the big builders, Monogram and all those guys, and Alvarez, and the
Mhm,
local builders, and it
mhm.
was great because once they got to know me, they bring me in earlier so I could say, "Hey, if you just move this wall over a foot, we can use both sides of the closet," and
Oh,
things
yeah.
like that. So, I got a great reputation as being, like, the premier closet lady in town
Cool.
doing that, so
Yeah.
it was wonderful, and I loved it, but then you naturally wanna do more.
So
So,
that's how you transitioned into kitchens and
yep,
bathrooms and that sort of stuff. So
yep,
what was that transition like? How did you start off working a different job, or did you start off, like, just starting your own business then?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, I was doing kitchens and baths when I was working for someone else doing the closet business. I got
Oh, okay.
recruited away to someone else,
Okay.
and then, yeah, so but it was just easy because I could see it,
Mm.
you know?
Which is
So, because we
probably
wasn't just closets. When you're in that business, you're also doing garage organization,
yeah.
offices,
Yeah.
you're already doing other rooms,
Yeah.
so then you just kinda sneak your way into the kitchen.
Yeah. The good stuff, which is where you
Yeah.
wanted to go. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's where the major transformation is,
Right.
that's the heart of the home, so it
Yeah.
has the biggest impact, and
Right.
I know a lot of people are really afraid to do that. I know when I was house hunting, I saw a lot of houses that were remodeled and the bathrooms and everything, but not the kitchen, because it is kind of a painful process to go through,
Yeah.
but it's so worth it, and as you know, as a realtor, kitchens sell houses.
Yeah.
So
Is that, um you just hit on a good point, and I see, like, a lot of bathrooms that are remodeled first before the kitchen. Is that because of, um do you think it's they just is it the cost of it, right? Like, the kitchen's like, "Okay,
I
this
think
is a
it's
big
both.
expense." Yeah, and then they just don't know what to do with it.
They're scared.
Yeah,
It's a painful process, It's a very personal business to go in there and tear apart someone's house.
yeah,
They have to trust you, and you
yeah,
have to kinda ride the wave with them, like, on demo day, they love you. They're like, "It's really happening,
yeah,
we're
yeah,
doing this,"
yeah.
And then halfway through, they're like, "It's not done yet, and I hate you." And then
That's the
by
worst,
the
right?
that's the
Like
worst part, and you just gotta ride that wave, like, "Just trust me,
yeah,
I got this,
yeah,
it's gonna be
because
beautiful,
it's
it's
not an
gonna be
easy
worth it."
process, right?
It's
It's
not.
dirty,
Yeah, you're
yeah,
cleaning your dishes in your bathtub, but, no one wants to go through that. That's not fun.
yeah.
So by the end, they just love you again if you do it right,
Mhm,
you know, which we do.
mhm,
So, and then, I've made so many friends in this business, because you make
mhm.
people happy for a
For sure.
living. You're
Right,
like
right.
literally fulfilling people's dreams on this little small level,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it
right.
feels really good,
Yeah.
and then they tell their friends and it just goes from there.
Yeah, that's cool. So let's go back to, like, starting the business in, kitchens and bathrooms. Like, what was that process like for you? What was that was it scary? Were you nervous, like, starting your own business then? Or you had, like, some clients kinda built up at that point?
No, we did it on the tail end of the last recession. We opened in January of 2012.
Okay,
So that was a tricky time,
okay.
and, I was excited to do it. Prior to that, I was living the good life, selling all the closets and doing all that, making great money, and I was a single mom, and I didn't really wanna deal with having my own business, to be honest with you, because
Mhm.
I was like, I already had a lot on my plate.
Mhm.
But after going through the recession, there was all of a sudden I was ready to step up to the plate and go to the next level and start my own business. So I did start with a builder partner, but he quickly got burnt out. My drive and ambition was like a
Oh,
little
okay.
more intense than his.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So then about 5 years ago now, I took over and I bought him out and was able to double the business because he kept holding me back. So
Okay.
I was able to double the business and we turned our little boutique place into a $1 million business, which is something I'm really proud of because apparently only 4% of female-owned companies in the United States have a revenue of $1 million.
Wow.
So to break that,
Company like general contractor companies or
no,
just companies in general?
all
Wow.
female-owned businesses,
Crazy. Yeah, yeah.
only 4% have the revenue of
Yeah.
$1 million or more.
Yeah.
So that kind of really propelled me and got me even more excited.
Sure.
And I felt like, it's silly, but I feel like I'm making my own little impact on the world,
Mhm.
with every person that you deal with and you make
For
happy.
sure. Absolutely.
It's a small impact, but
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like I'm leaving my mark.
Yeah, absolutely. So what was it difficult like starting your own business? Or, I mean, you had a partner in it, right? And then, I guess maybe like the transition when he stepped out of the business and you kinda took over, like, what was that?
Well, that was a little tricky because he was a builder and I wasn't.
Yeah.
So, I had to quickly get a carpentry license is what was required at the time to
Okay.
run one of these kind of companies.
Okay.
And I didn't have time to get a builder's license because he was leaving. So I
So
did
you did
that.
you did cabinets and everything for all of his new builds or whatever?
Well, I did all the sales and marketing and
Okay.
everything. I picked the location, and he did the installations
Okay.
and ran the crews.
I
We bring
got you.
guys in and they help with we do everything in-house.
Okay.
Well, I mean, not subcontractors, but our own carpenters are in-house,
Mhm.
and he ran the guys and all that. But I did all the marketing and sales and design and, picked the location. I picked what cabinetry lines we picked
Yeah.
and things like that because that was all my background was the cabinetry.
Sure.
And we still do the closets, which is always fun. I still
Yeah.
enjoy that a lot.
Yeah. Very cool. So the like when he steps out of the business and then you take it to the $1 million in sales, um, did you is owning a business, is that something you've always wanted to do?
No.
No. Never thought you would do it.
I wouldn't say that because I am ambitious and driven
Yeah.
person,
Right.
but as a single mom, it's a lot more challenging to have to worry about feeding other people
Yeah.
and not just yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
But I'm so fortunate now. I've got like the greatest office manager. I've got the greatest project manager, and they just were the three musketeers out there making it happen.
Yeah.
And I rely on them so much. And
Mhm.
once I found them, everything became a lot easier.
Was that hard?
Finding the right people,
Yeah, yeah.
that's the hardest part of the whole business.
Yeah.
We got to get kids into the trades.
Yeah.
We have to. We need kids to get into the trades.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
can make so much money.
Yeah.
There's so much money to be made in the trades, and they're just not doing it.
Yeah.
So all the
Why do you think
big
that
one,
is?
I don't know. I don't know if they just don't
Like
wanna
physical
work.
hard
I
labor?
think there's a fear of it's too hard, but
Right.
I don't think they understand how much money you can make.
Yeah.
And the problem now is that all the, you know, plumbers and electricians and all those guys are all starting to retire out.
Right.
Like, everybody we hire is in their 50s.
Yeah.
Everybody. And they're all starting to retire out, and they don't have a lot of competition because now the young bucks are coming into the field.
Right.
So, I mean, gosh, if we get more kids into the trades. I'm a NARI member, which is the National Association of Remodelers, and that is like one of their big focuses is going to the schools and the high schools and talking to kids and trying to get them into the trades.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know what's going to happen 50 years from now when someone needs their house built or fixed, or they're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah. That knows what they're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting.
I don't think I think the kids think there's going to be too much hard work, but they're not going to make the money, which is not true.
Right.
Like, if I can do it and make six-figure income as a single mom, and I had no background in that, I was in real estate.
Yeah.
I mean, I think anybody can do it,
Yeah.
you know?
And I think there's like a progression like where maybe there's some hard work in the beginning, just like with any business,
Mhm.
right? Like the physical labor is there, but then you can transition out of that if you so choose
Sure, yeah,
and
once you
then
get the right
manage the
people.
crews, right?
To be honest, if you just do what you say you're going to do
Yeah.
and you show up
Yeah.
on time, you will be successful.
Yeah.
Like, really, it's crazy because there's so many people who just don't care and they don't show up and then they just make me look better.
Yeah. Right.
It's really kind of basic.
I forget who it was, but I've had someone else on the podcast and we've had that same conversation,
Did
right?
they?
It's just like,
Being accountable.
yeah, it just show up
Yeah,
and just like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. Here's our quote or whatever. Here's the work
right.
that we're gonna provide. And then you just follow through on that, right? It's like the simplest.
I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
They're like, "You're the only one who actually showed up. I called 3 people." Or, "You were the quickest to turn around the design," or, "You do everything you say you're going to do." And it's.
Is that so with your experience in New York too, is that a Florida thing or is that just a trades?
It's a completely different dynamic up north. I think
Yeah.
it's a Florida thing.
Yeah.
I think the sun makes us lazy down here. That's my philosophy.
Or maybe we get the lazy people from all over the
Yeah, and
country
now they're
that
all coming
come in.
here.
Yeah.
Everybody just wants to retire,
Yeah.
and go
Yeah.
on their boat and chill out.
Yeah.
It's just something about the sunshine that makes you not wanna go to work.
Yeah.
Where, I was raised in New Jersey and I worked in New York, and there's definitely that hustle kind of vibe.
Yeah.
I just went back for the first time in 15 years to New York City in February, and I was just in my glory, just like the vibe of the whole thing. It was just thrilling to
It's next level,
me.
yeah.
Yeah, you feel the energy.
You think that's where you got your drive and motivate?
Totally.
Yeah, yeah. I went to New York City for the first time. This was many, many years ago, but like to experience like in the city and I had a friend who was staying. They lived in. They had a little apartment in New Jersey, just across the river. So then we would go into the city a couple days, and like you're right, like the energy there, you just feel it.
You do.
It's next level. It's pretty cool,
Yeah, it is.
and it's way different than what it is here in Florida.
Definitely. Down here, everybody's so chill and
Yeah,
relaxed and just everything, like, you dress up there. Down here is very casual. So
yeah,
but it's funny down here because you can't judge a book by its cover because of that, you
right,
know?
right, right.
Where
Yep,
there, you can kinda tell who's who in New York.
yeah. No, here it's like they could look like a beach bum
Totally.
and
Yeah,
be one of the
and they're
wealthiest
building
people.
some $4 million home,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we're like, "Yeah, let's do this. This will be fun."
Yeah. So, yeah, so it's so how did what was the process like for you, like, finding the right people? Because I think
That's the hardest part.
that's a hard part for not just, like, your business, right, but in any business is finding the right people. So how did you go through a couple different, employees?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, yeah.
LinkedIn was a big one for me. We go on Craigslist trying to find carpenters. That's a good place
Mhm.
for them because they're more hands-on and kinetic, and they're not gonna be computer people as
Mm.
much. So, but the 2 people that are helping me run my business now were both referrals from people who knew me.
Oh, okay.
In fact, my project manager is also from New Jersey, and my friend that referred me, he's like, "Listen, he's kinda a lone wolf, but he's really good carpenter and blah, 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 blah," and he's like, "And he's from New Jersey." I'm like, "I'll take him,"
It's
because
from
I knew he'd have the work ethic,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So,
Did you have like a description, like an avatar for, like, who you're looking for?
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we have a whole criteria for any, installers to come in, like list of tools and everything they
okay.
have to have, and they have to be able to, do crown and things like that. That kind of differentiates, like, a regular cabinet installer from an actual carpenter,
Mhm,
those certain finesse skills.
okay.
Um, but, the pay scale is much different up north than it is down here too, which makes it challenging,
Mm,
especially with everybody flooding our market now. They don't, um, they don't realize that you can't make $50 an hour, right off the bat doing this. You have to work your way up
yeah.
to something
So
like
the pay
that.
scale is lower here than
Yeah,
it is in
much.
up north?
But it's also less expensive to live
Right, right,
here,
right, yeah.
so it balances out.
Right, right. Well, it used to be less expensive, maybe not so much anymore, but
It's climbing.
yeah, we're getting there.
It's climbing.
Yeah, so let's talk about like a remodel, right? Like, what is that process like? Kinda take us through that and kind of your role and what you enjoy about it and that sort of stuff.
Well, for me, when someone comes, I'll do let's say it's a kitchen remodel, I'll do the design on a 3D CAD design for them
Okay.
so they can see what we're doing. And then we'll pick out all the finishes, cabinets, countertops, flooring, anything that relates to that kitchen. I'll help them with their appliances, guide them.
Yeah. When people come to you, do they have an idea of like, "This is what we're looking for. Can you just make it happen,
Depends.
or it's a little bit of both?
Yeah, sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. For a long time, I just had everybody walk in the door and saying, "Oh, I want white with white with white," and I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
"Can we dig a little bit deeper?
Let's
Can
make
we
some
find
color in
something
there.
else?"
I went to a remodel of a house that had been flipped the other day, and it didn't have, like, white cabinets and everything. Oh, thank you.
Right?
Someone's doing it right.
Yeah, we're really excited. I brought some notes on all the trends now, but it's
Yeah.
so funny because we've literally gone from white to black. Like, my own kitchen that I just remodeled is quarter saw mahogany with black, and
With
we
black
haven't seen
countertops?
that. It's got black countertops, a black island, it's a new engineered material we have called
Wow.
Phoenix, it's indestructible, and it's got thermal healing.
Okay,
So I did all the pretty stuff in mahogany, and I did the island where the dishwasher and the sink and the trash and the ovens and all that, whereas more the hardworking areas.
okay,
I did that in this black because I don't have to worry about it.
okay.
And it's really cool. The technology's come a long way when it
Yeah,
comes to
yeah.
cabinetry, and those engineered materials are what we see at KBIS, which is kitchen and bath industry shows.
Okay,
They were showing a lot of textured melamines and all those kind of materials,
okay.
engineered materials,
Yeah.
which is actually
Is that for, like, the countertops, or is that
for no, the
the
cabinetry.
cabinetry? Okay.
People are really hesitant. They think they need all wood, but in Florida, you really don't with our humidity.
Yeah.
It's to your advantage not to have all wood and to
Right, right.
do an engineered material like that, that will not change with humidity at all. So that they'll hold up really well.
Mhm.
So that has been a big trend.
Are those engineered materials, are they cheaper than what, like, wood would cost? Or is it
Not really. I have a new line that is inexpensive with it, which I was excited because
Yeah,
usually it was pretty much on par with wood
yeah.
and sometimes more, depending what you pick and your design and the features. Because a lot of people, when they're doing the engineered materials, will do more contemporary, so they want no handles and things like that,
Mm,
which add to your cost because you need different hardware for that to happen,
mhm.
and that can be expensive. But for those that want that look, it's seamless.
Yeah,
There's no gaps, there's no hardware, it's easy
sure,
to clean. They don't have to
sure,
worry about if their kids are there in the middle of the night making a snack, and
sure.
everything will hold up and be fine.
Yeah,
So, and then we have, like, texture is a big thing now in
on
kitchens.
the cabinets.
Texture, reeding, caning, which is like wicker,
Okay.
and wicker accents and things like
Interesting.
that. Matte finishes, honed finishes, especially for countertops.
Mhm.
And leather is called leather. Have you seen that? It's a textured, instead of polishing
Yeah.
your granite, it's got a finish on it that gives it texture.
I think I have seen this before. It was like a black countertop
Yep.
and with that texture, and it was, like, really
Isn't it
cool.
cool?
Yeah.
And it's funny because sometimes, like, it used to be you don't wanna put something on the countertop, you're like, "Oh, can I put that there? Is that alright? Is that safe to do that?"
Yeah.
And with the leather, you feel like you can put a hammer on it, like,
Yeah.
it's so cool, and people just come pet their island all the time.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
"What is this? This is so cool."
Yeah. Yeah, so it's changing a little
It
bit.
is.
Alright, so let's go back to I interrupted you, about the process, right? So they come to you, they say they
Yeah.
wanna remodel their kitchen or whatever, and
So we
you're
pick all the
designing.
finishes.
Okay.
Yep, we pick all the finishes, and if they're a snowbird, that's my favorite because then they go away, and they don't have to
Uh,
live through it, so we miss the painful part, and they come back, and I'm like,
yeah,
"Ta-da!
cool.
Look what I did."
Yeah,
But, if they live here, they go through it with us, but we'll go pull their permit, and we'll get all the paperwork ready for them, and then we schedule their demo. We really try to schedule everything around the cabinet delivery, so we keep our timeline as short as possible, because you want the downtime as short as possible,
yeah, yeah,
obviously, because it's not fun. So we'll start either a week or a month, depending how much work there is, before the cabinets come, and then we'll schedule our template for their countertops immediately. Like the next day that we start installing, we'll do the
yeah,
bases
yeah.
first, so we can get that
Okay.
turnaround because that's usually a 2-week turnaround for
Yep.
their countertops. But once that happens, you're finishing up because once the countertops go in, it's just the plumber hooking up your sink and dishwasher, and you put your backsplash in, and you're good to go.
Yeah. So it
So,
can be pretty quick. So what's the average turnaround time for, like, start to finish for a kitchen remodel?
if they're not doing floors,
Yeah.
I would
Most
say
people do floors, like, if
a
they're
lot
doing
of
the
people
remodel?
have to. If you're changing the footprint at all, you have
That's
to,
true. Right,
and that's
right.
something you
Yeah.
have to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Because people sometimes I'll go in like, "Oh, I wanna move this wall." I'm like, "Well, do you have more flooring? Because if we
Mhm.
can't patch the floor, you have to do the floor."
Mhm.
And that's what I get bummed because sometimes people will do the floor first, then call you, and then they wanna change the
Oh.
layout. I'm like,
Oh, no.
"Oh, that's the
Yeah.
wrong order."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Do you have an extra box?" No matter what it is.
Yeah.
So, it also depends what the flooring is too, because if they're doing luxury vinyl, that goes in after the cabinets.
Mm.
But if they're doing tile or wood, that has to happen before we put the cabinets
Mhm.
in. We put that
Mhm.
under the cabinets,
Yeah.
ideally.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, anything can be done afterwards, but ideally, you want those finishes to go in first.
Why is that? That's because it's glued to the floor and you want it
Mhm.
underneath the cabinets?
Yeah, and
Okay.
you want everything to level, and you don't wanna, like, trap your dishwasher or anything.
Oh,
Because if
that's true.
people try
Yeah,
to
yeah.
tile,
Yep.
and if things get trapped and they can't get them out, their
Yeah.
dishwasher and or the refrigerator, even the stove.
Mhm.
So and that's why I'm also not a fan of covering tile. I won't do it. People do it, but I won't do it.
Yeah, I was just talking to a friend this morning and she ripped up their flooring,
Mhm.
and they had linoleum and then 2 layers of tile that they
Right?
had to clear up. I'm like, "Dang."
You just gained 2 inches once we're done.
Right? Yeah.
Between all the mud and
Oh
the
my
setting
gosh.
materials,
Yeah.
everything.
It's like the
Yeah.
easy way to do it, but man, that's a bummer for someone who has to rip that up.
Yeah. I mean, luckily, we have companies like Bottoms Up now that come in with a machine,
Oh, and take it out.
and take it up in one
Yeah.
day, and they leave it really nice and
Oh,
clean.
that's
There's
cool.
other companies that do it as well. Like,
Yeah.
the company that I use for demo is usually AAA, and they have their own machine, and
Okay.
they're fantastic, and they keep everything really clean, and keeping the job sites clean during the process resolves so many issues.
Yeah.
It just shows respect. It shows that, you're professional and they don't get as upset if you seal everything off and,
Mhm.
visqueen everything and make sure that you keep, the dust at a minimum. Obviously, drywall dust is going to get everywhere
It's
no matter
crazy, like,
what.
how much. Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah. We
That's why
did.
it's a painful process.
Yeah. Yeah. And you really can't do anything about it. It's just,
Mm-mm. We try. We
wipe things
really
down.
try.
Yeah.
We try so hard to contain it.
Yeah, yeah.
And as long as they see you're trying as hard as possible, they're usually okay with that.
Sure.
No one's gonna get out alive without having to dust after a kitchen remodel,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
it's worth it,
Yeah. It
you
is.
know,
It's very cool. So kitchens are your favorite to do?
for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'd have to say master closets do make the ladies happy.
Oh, yeah.
So that's fun too. Like when I was doing that full time, I go to a party and I'd always bring a stack of cards and I'd always be like the most popular girl. Like, you do that? Like, yeah, for half the price of the big guys,
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like, oh, can you come to
Yeah.
my house? Yes, I can.
Yeah. It changes things, like, even, like, having um, a a customized kitchen with, like, the right cabinets or whatever that fit, like, what you need and everything, so, like,
Oh my
everything is
gosh.
organized, the
And that's
closet's
another thing.
organized, like.
Yeah, I don't mean to cut you off, but
No, go ahead.
sometimes people just want to not change anything. Like, they don't understand this is your opportunity to fix the problems
Yeah.
in the design. Sometimes they're like, "Well, we'll just put it back the way it was." And I'm like, "But if we did this and you didn't have your stove up against your fridge, you'd have, X amount of space and your life would be so much easier," and things like that. And I like to use all the different pullouts and organizational
Yeah, yeah.
things
Right.
and to maximize every inch of their valuable
Yeah.
real estate. And I think that comes from being in the closet business because you thought in inches. So I think
Oh,
that's
okay.
why I'm so obsessed with, utilizing every inch of their space and giving them, all the fun gadgets that simplify their life. Like my favorite one, my project manager calls Michelle's special thing, but it's a 15-inch pull-out cabinet, a base cabinet that I always put next to cooktops, and it holds 4 utensil bins and 2 knife blocks, and it's a space underneath in a 15-inch cabinet. That just cleaned off your whole countertop,
Oh, wow.
And the little things like that, especially if your cooktop happens to be in an island, you don't want all that stuff out,
Yeah.
you don't wanna look at all that mess, and
Right,
it
right.
keeps it all streamlined and clean, and it's
Clean.
right there where you need it, and you can take them all out and clean them if you need to. It's
Yeah.
super cool.
Yeah.
I put that in 90% of my kitchens.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's fun. And I finally got one in mine when I remodeled mine. I was so happy. It's like, "Yes,
Finally.
it's my turn."
Yeah, right? Um, yeah, that's pretty cool. So let's talk about some of the trends. I know we talked on some of them before,
Yeah, I
but,
don't wanna
like,
forget.
yeah, so what about, countertop trends? Like, what's going on there?
Well, um definitely the honed and leather finishes are big,
Okay.
and they're coming out with porcelain, which is new and not as heat sensitive. I think the marketing people for engineered quartz were geniuses, and they convinced everybody that granite was bad
Mhm.
and that you would have to seal it all the time. which is not true. There's a nano sealer you can get for $299. It gives you a 15-year warranty and it actually impregnates the stone. It doesn't just sit on top of it.
Oh, wow.
So you never have to worry about it again.
Oh, wow.
So I'm a big proponent of quartzite. I sell a lot of quartzite, which is what they make that engineered quartz out of. And engineered quartz is actually a composite. It's
Okay.
93% quartz and 7% resin,
Okay.
which is technically a glue. But it's also that magic sealer in there, which is why they can
Prevents
say
it.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But like you can't use it in an outside kitchen. It can't take over 400 degrees heat. And people don't realize that. So they think that they're, getting something better, but technically you're not. And but supply and demand, especially for all those marble looks, has made the price skyrocket.
Yeah.
And it's all just supply and demand.
Yeah.
So sometimes, especially with my condo market, they really can't afford to do that. And then you start showing them some lighter, pretty quartzites. They go that route instead because it's like half the price.
Mm-hmm.
But
But it's not, it's sensitive to heat, right? So you can't,
quartzite isn't.
oh, quartzite isn't.
Engineered quartz is because it's got the nano
Oh,
the
quartzite. Okay.
resin in it.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
So it's not quite as
Okay.
durable as
But
people think it
quartzite is
is.
just the
It's a
stone.
natural stone. It's
Okay.
100% stone, just like granite is 100% stone.
Okay.
So, but you know what's coming out now is all the bold marbles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's that. And now the engineered quartz people are starting to make them to look like that, like with
Yeah.
white base and like burgundy veins or gray veins or black veins and green veins. And that came from Europe. They're doing a lot of like pastel color cabinets, which really
Oh,
translates well to
interesting.
here because a lot of people want the coastal colors.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're doing a lot of we have this haze green that I do a lot of that, and that looks great with a
Cool.
quartzite called Fantasy Brown, which is super popular, and it gives that whole beachy vibe, and it's
Yeah.
just kinda soft and pretty, but still light because
Yeah.
everybody wants it to be light. So I think those pastels, and I do some light blue, and we still have the navy blue, like a lot of people do an island or a
Yeah.
bar
Yeah.
in blue and just keep the perimeter in white, and obviously white is always gonna be a safe bet. But to add something to it, like color's back. Color
Yeah.
is back in a big way,
Yeah. And
and
not
so is
just like
wood.
browns or
No, color.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, color is back.
In both the cabinets and countertops.
And paint and
Yeah.
everything. Color is back.
Yeah.
And then, oh gosh darn it, I forgot what I was just gonna say. And oh, wood, because
Yeah.
mid-century modern came back, and that brought walnut. So
Mm.
walnut's really big, but right now the biggest wood is by far rift oak.
Rift oak?
Yeah. Which is lighter. It's
Okay.
a lighter white oak for flooring too. The white oak floors are
Oh, yes. Yeah, yeah.
huge.
Love those.
But now the cabinets,
Yeah.
Rift oak is all the rage
So
because it gives them
are
the
they
texture.
are they painting them or are they
No,
okay.
natural.
Natural.
Because
Okay.
they're still light, they're
Yeah,
wood, they're organic, which is where we're hearing a lot more now.
for
Everybody
sure.
wants that more organic, earthy feel. So if you have all these nice light woods, it still keeps its space light, but it's also easier to maintain a stained cabinet than it is a painted
Painted
cabinet.
cabinet. Yeah.
Yeah, like if people are going to rent their unit out, I'll usually try to steer them away from at least doing the bases and in white, like try to get them to do a stained bottom and a white
Yeah.
upper if they're
Yeah.
concerned about that. Because visually what's up here is what's gonna keep it light.
Okay.
I don't know if they have a lot of dogs or kids or something could scratch it up.
Yeah. That's like
Stain is
ours.
a
Like
lot easier.
we have white cabinets and it's, like hair and dirt and all that stuff like
Yep,
shows, right?
it is. It's
Yeah.
harder to maintain them.
You ding
Yeah.
them, that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Man, I'm ready to get my kitchen remodeled now too.
Good. I know a girl.
Yeah. Um,
It's fun. It just you bring people joy, you
yeah.
know?
What about like backsplashes? Is that like anything there? Anything stand
Well,
out
a
there?
lot of people are doing the full backsplash to match their countertops. That's come back in a big way.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
So
and that's kinda nice seamless.
it's the countertop just on the backsplash?
Mhm.
Interesting. Do you like that look?
I do. I think
Yeah.
it's pretty. It depends on the stone, obviously, and
Yeah.
what you're doing. If
Yeah.
it's super loud, that might not be the best choice.
Yeah.
But
Or what if it's dark too? Like if it's a darker stone? Like I've seen some of that too. Yeah.
well, mine is I have a black herringbone on
Oh, okay.
mine, but it's striking. It looks beautiful.
Okay.
But that's just me, and it's not my job to sell what I like,
Yeah, yeah,
It's
sure.
my job to, bring your vision to life and what you like.
Yep.
We're seeing a lot of, um, geo geographic. shapes, I mean, geometric shapes,
Oh, okay. Yep.
like octagons and the
Yeah, yeah.
herringbones and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
A lot of the, once again, the beachy colors, a lot of the
Mhm.
aquas and things like that are really popular because
Mhm.
that whole coastal color scheme is huge right now.
That's cool.
And even with the wood, because once again,
Yeah.
people, especially millennials, they want organic and earthy and
Mhm.
casual but elegant. And
Mhm.
it's, you do some rift oak with some light tops and some aqua glass backsplash, and
Yeah, yeah.
bam,
Yeah. Pretty cool.
yeah, it's beautiful and
Yeah.
light and cheerful,
Yeah.
and
So a
that's
lot
what
more
you want.
creativity in these designs
That's
and
what I
stuff, right?
love.
Yeah.
That's why I was getting so frustrated with that whole white on white trend. I was like, "Can we please do something
Do
more fun?"
like have do the trends, do they like how often do you see them, so you've been in the business for 20, 30 years now, like how often do you see them kind of turn over into the next trend? Is it every 5 years, 10 years, or does it just depend on what's going on?
Well, the whole white on white lasted a decade.
Yeah.
It really did. And then I think that what changed that was when everybody was doing the white kitchens with the gray vinyl floors and the flippers started doing it. And then it started losing its appeal because it
Yeah.
didn't look as expensive and it was too cool. So now we have all the warm colors coming in and people are doing more of garages and just back to all the warm earth tones
Yeah. So
is
then it'll
much
be
more
like
prevalent
once
now.
everyone gets kind of tired of that, it'll be like,
That'll
okay,
change again.
let's go
But it's
light.
funny because we literally went it was like overnight that we went from white to black. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, we saw black kitchens everywhere.
Yeah.
And, that has a certain appeal, but it's, it's obviously just for a modern
Yeah.
clientele. So, but
Mhm.
transitional they were doing it with white tops and white backsplash. That
Okay.
still worked.
Yeah.
Even white appliances, which kinda sounds
Oh,
weird,
interesting.
but they made a big comeback, like
Yeah.
with GE and them, they have fun handles that are brass and two-tone and things like that,
Mhm.
and the rose gold and the brass hardware trend looks great on, like, blues and blacks.
Mhm.
Looks really pretty on those colors.
Yeah.
It's very elegant.
Yeah.
So, it was like a switch, though, it went from white to black.
Yeah.
But
That's
black is
pretty
kind of a
cool.
hard sell in Florida,
It is.
but
Yeah.
blue is big. Like, this royal blue color,
Yeah.
really big.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen a lot of that, especially for like the islands, right? Like if you have a kitchen island,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. Very
Or we
cool.
do a lot of bars with it too, because
Yeah.
if it's in the dining room, it doesn't feel so kitchen-y
Oh,
then,
yeah, yeah.
if you do a
Okay.
color.
Yeah, yeah.
And you just gotta add some LED lights and some glass shelves and some display for your pretty stuff, and now
Yeah.
it looks more furniture-like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Um, well, you've got a fun job.
I
That's
do.
for sure.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So one thing I I like to ask everybody that comes on the show is with you being here now for quite some time in Florida, what is like when you're not working, when you're not redoing kitchens and bathrooms and closets, um, what is one thing that you really enjoy doing, or one place you like going to, whether it's the beach, the boat, or a restaurant? Like if you had to pick one thing that you're going to go do,
Well, I bought a boat.
you bought a boat,
Yeah, so I
so
have
it's
a
a boat.
boat.
Yeah, so it's a boat right now.
Yeah, it's a boat for sure. That
Yeah.
makes me so relaxed and
Where's your
chilled.
Where's your favorite place to go on the boat? Is it just like cruising around the water? Do you like going to restaurants? Do you like going to some of
Yeah,
the
sometimes it's
islands?
just a water taxi to go to lunch, and other
Yeah.
times we, go down to Caladesi. Lately, I'm going north up to, like, Anclote and Three Rooker and
Mhm.
places like that.
Mhm.
Mine does have a small cabin, so, I'm dreaming of fantasies of taking it overnight and,
Yeah.
going further.
That's cool.
Yeah, I really wanna do that, but I haven't had the opportunity to do that yet,
Yeah, we've
but
done
that's a goal.
yeah, that's pretty cool. Like, it's crazy, like, how beautiful our coastline is,
Oh my
and, like, I
goodness.
don't think unless you go out there and, like, spend some time out there, I don't think you really realize it. We've camped out at, Anclote, like,
Have
the
you?
north end, like, you can camp out there, and
Oh,
so, like,
cool.
waking up there in the morning,
That must be
when it's,
nice.
like, quiet and no one else is there and just walking the beach and, like, all you see is the ocean,
Yeah, it's so relaxing, isn't it?
it's so beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, the minute I leave the dock, it's just like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right.
it just washes away.
Yeah.
Originally, I was thinking I was going to wrap my boat with fusion cabinets on
Oh,
it.
yeah.
That was what at first, and I thought, "That'd be great advertising,"
Yeah, yeah.
But then I thought, "Well, on the boat, I don't really wanna talk about work,"
Yeah, right.
I wanna be playing, not working.
Yeah, yeah. Don't talk to me
So,
about cabinets.
yeah, I don't want somebody coming and say, "Can you give me a vanity?" Like, "No, not really.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna
Not
have my
now.
beer and relax now,
Yeah.
thanks."
Call me on Monday.
Exactly, "Call me on Monday, here's my card."
Yeah. There you
So I
go.
didn't wrap it.
There you go. Well, Michelle, I appreciate you coming on the
Oh,
podcast
thank you
and
so much for having
yeah, it's
me.
been fun.
I really enjoyed it. This is my first one, so
Awesome.
thank you.
Hopefully first of many.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Awesome.